Hi, welcome to my kitchen and our cook-along. My name is Angelica. I'm a home cook with Real Plans, and today we're going to make one of the most popular dishes on Real Plans, chicken Marbella. And I used Real Plans to choose two sides as well, rice and broccoli. So if you follow me to the end of the video, we'll all have a complete meal ready to serve. So let's get cooking. Now the only thing I did to prepare for this meal was I soaked my rice. If you want to take a sneak peek, if you can soak your rice overnight, that's great, but if not, then just a few hours will also do the trick. If you can't soak your rice at all because maybe life got in the way, then give it a good rinse. But we're going to pause on this for now, and we're going to go grab our meat, our chicken thighs from the fridge. Now this is one of the most important things that I do before cooking with meat. And the reason is, if you can get your meat close to room temperature, so let it sit for up to an hour before you cook it, then that will help get the meat really tender. And let's grab a plate and some paper towels. And what we're gonna do is, as we're letting the meat sit, we're gonna have it sit over these paper towels because that's gonna help get the moisture out. And I don't know if you've noticed, sometimes when you cook with meat, and if there's a bunch of moisture in the meat, which is pretty common, then you'll get like this broiled meat texture, which I'm not really a fan of. But this is gonna help us get a really nice grilled, crispy bake, which is what we want. So I'm just gonna lay these chicken thighs out like this, open like that. Let's grab one more paper towel to blot the top just to make sure we get as much moisture as we can. So I'm just gonna grab one more paper towel. Let's just blot the top. Any moisture that you see, give it a head start. Okay, so that should do the trick. I'm gonna wash my hands because I have a bunch of chicken on my hands. And now let's get our salt, because we're gonna throw on some salt. And this also helps make the meat really tender, and it also quickens the speed to getting the moisture, getting rid of the moisture. Don't worry about putting too much. I mean, you don't wanna dump the whole jar on there, but you don't have to be, you can be generous with the salt. It's all gonna be really good. All right. There we go. You can just put the salt to the side because we're going to need it in a bit. I'm just going to wash my hands, get that bone off. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to let our meat sit for the next 30 minutes to get it closer to room temperature. So grab a glass of wine, kick up your feet, and we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Let's put our meat to the side because we're not going to need it for a little bit. And also, before I forget, just wanted to say that all these recipes are in the description, so you know where to find them. All right, time to deal with the rice. So I'm going to give this a good rinse. Let's get our colander. And this is where, when I said that if you didn't have a chance to soak your rice, this is a great time to give your rice a really good soak. Or a rinse, sorry. All right. And today I'm using basmati rice, but any rice will do. If you like, sushi rice, which I do love and I use a lot, but today I thought I would switch it up. So I'm using a basmati. So now let's all give this a nice rinse. Because even if you soaked your rice, you just want to get any residue that's remaining, get it out. Okay. That will do the trick. So we're going to cook our rice on the stove. So let's get a saucepan and also a tight lid. And then if you have any chicken broth or beef broth, either will do. So I'm gonna grab beef broth from our pantry. And the measuring cups. If you're cooking 1 cup of rice, then you're gonna do 1.5 cups of broth. I'm doing 2 cups of rice, so I'm gonna do 3 cups of broth. Give it a nice shake. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's get our rice in. All right. Get as much of this out. Now, if you want to get a ladle, because we're going to mix it up just to make sure the broth is coated nicely. I'm just going to give it a little mix. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to put it on a high heat and bring it to a boil. So while we're over here, let's preheat the oven. Now the recipe calls for 350, but my oven is a little bit funny, so I'm going to put it at 375. So unless you have a funny oven, set yours at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so I'm a big believer, before we do our marinade, big believer in cleaning up as you go. So let's get our kitchen looking all spotless again, and that way, you know, by the end of the meal, we won't have any cleanup to do. It's the best part. So if you want to join me, I'm just going to rinse this colander. I always try to teach my kids to do this, but it doesn't seem to stick yet. So maybe in 10 years when they're adults. Okay, and then we'll put that in the fridge. Ooh, make sure the lid is on tight. Don't want to have to clean the fridge. Okay, so now it's time to make our marinade. So let's grab a bowl. It doesn't have to be a big bowl. This will do. Okay, and I'm going to look at all of our ingredients. Let's see what we need to go get. So from the pantry, let's get our extra virgin olive oil, our balsamic vinegar, and our red wine vinegar. Olive oil. Oh, okay. All right. And also we're going to grab the oregano, the dried oregano, the bay leaf, and the prunes. Bay leaf, prunes. Okay. All right, now for the fridge items. Green olives, minced garlic, capers, and we already have our chicken out. So green olives, minced garlic, green olives, capers, soon to be minced garlic. Okay, here we go. And then pepper. Don't want to forget that. Okay, and now let's get our cutting board and a knife because we're going to mince the garlic. And I always like to mince my garlic first because for some reason it's my least favorite thing to do. So get it out of the way first. All right, let's see how much garlic we're doing. 1.5 teaspoons. Let's see. So honestly, I never measure out my minced garlic. I just eyeball it. So 1.5 teaspoons, I'm going to do about, let's see, that's 4. That's good. We're going to do these 4 little cloves. Oh, something's boiling. Let's turn this down. We're going to turn it down to a simmer. We're going to bring this down to a low heat, put it on a simmer, and put the lid on. All right, back to my favorite thing, mincing the garlic. Okay. I'm just going to give them all a nice crush to get that coating off and to make it smell really nice while I'm chopping. Let's get all this. Okay. I feel like chopping this garlic is like that ASMR, has a very nice crunch to it. We don't need to chop it up super duper finely, but we do just want it so you don't have any big chunks. Just about there. Just gonna give it one run through. All right, time to put this in the bowl. Whoops. Okay. Now we don't need our cutting board for a while until we do the broccoli, so let's put it to the side. I'm just going to rinse my hands. Garlic is actually pretty sticky. Okay, next. I always like to start with our dry spices, so I'm going to grab the measuring spoons, and you should do the same. All right, so we need 1 bay leaf. All right, let's see how much dried oregano, 1½ teaspoons. Okay. Let's see. And this, you don't have to be super precise, just as long as you get close to 1.5 tablespoons. One of the reasons I love cooking is because with baking, you have to have everything just so, or else the chemistry is ruined. All right, let's do our capers and our olives. So if yours have a bunch of liquid, we need to empty it out. Let's see. Okay. Now let's see, 3 ounces of green olives. So I have 6 ounces here, so I'm just gonna eyeball about half of these. Let's see, a little bit more. Okay, that's good. All right, and then capers, we have 2 ounces. So this is 2½ so that's pretty close. So I'm just gonna eyeball again until I get close to the end. 2 ounces, that sounds good. Okay, next, let's see. All right, let's do all of our vinegars. So you're gonna need an 1/8 cup. And so we're gonna do an 1/8 cup for both the red wine and the balsamic. we have 1 tablespoon of olive oil. All right, let's get a tablespoon. And we can just put this, we're going to use these to mix everything up, so you can just lay it in there. Okay, before we do our prunes, let's give everything a healthy dose of pepper. Just give it a nice, generous coating. All right. Okay, and then let's do our salt. We are going to do half a teaspoon of salt. Let's see, this is a juggle. All right. Okay. All right, these will be my little mixing ones. All right, and lastly, we're going to do our prunes. I'm a really big fan of the prunes. I always want more than my share at the end of the meal. So it's a half a cup of prunes. I might be just a little generous and add more than a half a cup. All right. Okay, and now we mix. Make sure at the bottom we have all that minced garlic. So make sure that you get a good mix in there. And same with, you want the salt to be evenly dispersed. All right. We're getting close. Okay, so let's clear up the kitchen so that we don't have to do this later. So I'm going to let's put our pantry items away. And salt and pepper. Pantry items. These are all fridge items. All right. Now we have a nice clean station. All right. Okay. And rinse this out and this out. All right. So now let's check on our rice. Make sure everything is good there, because it's probably done. Oh, there's no more steam. It looks like it's out of liquid, so let's just turn it off now. Turn it off and move it to the side. We're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes, and that's going to help it get all nice and fluffy. All right, time to put the meat with the marinade. So I'm going to grab, I'll show you what my oven dish is. It's about this size. We don't want one that's too big, because you want the juices to be trapped with the meat. You don't want the juices to run away from the meat if you had like a really long dish. So I'm going to use this size. And what we can do first, we're just going to lay out the chicken. And it's nice and room temperature-ish. That is what we want. Secret to tender chicken. All right. Oh. Okay. Let's put this away. You can throw this away. Rinse this off. And let's grab a spoon. So we're going to use a spoon to help spread the mixture. Okay. This is the fun part. Okay, so we don't need these right now. So when you pour your mixture in, try to get, before you put all the toppings in, try to just get the liquid to coat the top of all the chicken. Ooh, here we go. Here, I'm just going to use my hands actually. All right, so now the top is all evenly coated really nicely with all the vinegars. I wasn't planning on using my hands, but why not? They're already messy. And we're gonna get all this yummy. It should smell really nice. Okay, and now let's just spread it and make it even. Okay. All right, and let's take our spoon and let's just give all the chicken a little jiggle to make sure all the sauces get underneath. Oh, it smells really good. I hope you can smell that. All right, and now let's put it in the oven. Okay. Whew, hardest part is over. All right, so now we get a break. So we're gonna let that cook for about 25 to 35 minutes, but we're gonna wait to start the broccoli because we want the broccoli to be nice and hot while at the same time that everything else is nice and hot. So we're gonna come back in about 15 minutes, kick your feet up, take a break, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back. Time to grab that cutting board and the knife. We're on the home stretch. Let's do the sauteed broccoli. So you're gonna let's grab a big pan, about this size. So we're gonna put the pan on a medium heat. And then we're gonna grab, if you have avocado oil or bacon fat, we just want a high heat oil. We're gonna douse, give it a good generous coating at the bottom. Okay. Spread it all out. Okay, now we're gonna leave that to warm up. We're gonna grab our broccoli. All right. So the stalk of the broccoli is actually really yummy and nutritious, and so we're gonna cut that up finely first. I'm just removing these leaves. Okay. So first, I'm gonna first cut up the stalk, and we're gonna get that going on the pan, and then we'll cut up the crown of the broccoli. I'm just gonna take this stalk and we'll put the crown to the side. Okay, and now I'm just gonna chop this up into little chips. Okay, all right, okay. Oops. Okay. Okay, now let's bring all these, put them in the pan. Okay. Careful not to splash yourself. Ooh, there we go. Put these in here. Okay, let's mix this around. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay. If your oil is splattering, you can turn your heat down just a little bit until it doesn't splatter. Okay. Now we're just going to chop up the crown. We're going to cut it into nice florets, nice bite size. Okay. Oops. So before we add this to the pan, let's grab some tongs. So we're going to flip the stalks over. Ooh, nice and crispy. Oh, here, let's see. Okay, and now that'll do. Let's go grab our broccoli florets. Okay, get our tongs. Try to get the oil also on the florets. And now let's go grab our coconut aminos. All right, so you're gonna need 1/4 cup. Measure. I really like this brand, the Bragg's brand of coconut aminos. It's nice and thick. It's already pretty syrupy. And so it'll be a nice reduction for the broccoli. All right, now we're just gonna pour that on. Grab our spoon, mix it all around. Get everything coated really nicely. Okay. And now let's grab our garlic powder or garlic granules and onion powder. Okay. And then we're also going to need our salt. So with the garlic, I'm just going to sweep across. I'm going to give about a tablespoon's worth, but I'm just going to sweep across and cover, give a nice coating. And same with the onion powder. Just a nice coating on the top. And then the salt, I'm just going to take a few pinches. We can always salt more later, but for now that's good. Ooh, and if you can see, the coconut aminos is already starting to thicken into a nice like syrup. So let's toss this around. Oh, it's going to be so yummy. It's caramelizing really nicely. The game with broccoli is you don't want to cook it too long. You want it to be a nice balance between crunchy, but also not too crunchy, where you feel like a rabbit. And the way to kind of figure out when it's done is it's going to be a very nice green color. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Do you see how the green, it's becoming like a very poppy, pungent green? It's very nice. All right, so we're going to turn off the heat now, and we're going to take this off the heat as well because we don't want it to keep cooking. We'll just let it sit there, and meanwhile, let's check out what's going on with our chicken. Oh, it's looking good. It's crispy. I think I'm going to keep it going a little bit longer though. I like mine a little bit more brown, but feel free, if it's brown enough for you, take it out. All right, I've given it a few more minutes. It's time to plate. We'll grab a plate. I'm gonna grab the chicken out of the oven. If you haven't yet, this is the time. Unless you want yours really dark. Oh, look at that. Look at you. All right, time to serve. I love this broccoli, so I'm going to give myself a generous amount. And now, last but not least, chicken Marbella. Ooh, which one should I choose? I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna give myself, I did the extra prunes, so I could give myself some extras, some olives. There we have it. We've got the chicken Marbella, we've got the sauteed broccoli with the coconut aminos and our rice. And the kitchen smells lovely. I hope you enjoyed our cook along. Don't forget all the recipes are in the description, and I hope to see you soon.